Good morning. My name is Judith Milstein, and I'm the Chief Project Management Staff in the Division of Ophthalmology and the Acting Director of Project Management Staff in the Office of Specialty Medicine in the Office of Regulatory Operation. During my presentation, I will share with you some of the history of the new drug regulatory program modernization, its objectives, and provide you a snapshot of the current status and progress of the programs and projects. In the year 2017, the FDA Center for New Drug Evaluation and Research embarked on an initiative to modernize the new drug regulatory program that will allow the center to better serve patients and better support staff in their work to carry out the center's mission to protect and promote health by making sure that the human drugs are safe and effective for their intended use, that they meet established quality standards, and that they are available to patients. This program would have built on past successes and strengths by implementing problem-focused, interdisciplinary, team-based approaches so we could meet the challenges of evolving science, new drug platforms, and new drug targets while incorporating the patient voice in development. The modernization of the new drugs regulatory program will be a long process of continuous improvement involving multiple initiatives. We have begun our implementation in end of the year 2019 with some initiatives and will continue over the course of 2020. And additional information will be shared as the programs and project progresses. We have currently 6 projects working at this time during the implementation process. The first 2 are internal processes to better be able to capture our scientific expertise and pathways for regulatory approval. With regard to the post-market safety management, we are systematically monitoring the benefits and risks of approved drugs, pre and post-approval, to effectively protect the American public. And again, we will try to attract, develop, and retain outstanding people and develop long-term career path for them so they can become our next generation of seasoned leaders. We have reorganized administrative operations with the addition of some administrative internal divisions that will not be the topic of my presentations. However, I will focus the rest of the slides on the transition management and reorganization of the new drug regulatory programs, especially in 2 areas of the OND, that is the reorganization of the clinical divisions and the implementation or reorganization of the Office of Regulatory Operations. So, moving forward, this is what we have now. So, the director of the Office of New Drugs is Dr. Peter Stein, and we have the new Deputy Director, Dr. Mary Tan Hai. Within this new reorganization, we have now 8 clinical offices and 27 clinical divisions within those 8 offices, up from the original 19 we have, and 6 divisions of pharmacology and toxicology. The intention of this reorganization was to enable greater efficiency, hoping that these changes will help us better understand the diseases intended to be treated by the drug we evaluate for approval, thus in somehow enhancing our knowledge and management. And I will talk also about, we have also an Office of Regulatory Operations that it's the administrative housing for the regulatory project manager staff in the agency. So here it is. This is our structure. So as you can see here, we have 8 offices, 27 divisions, and 6 divisions of pharmacology, toxicology supporting the offices. It's busy, the slide, but I promise you that during the presentation, I will work on each one of them and see where the realignment has been done. Some of the divisions continue operating with the same therapeutic areas they had before. Other had been reorganized and reassigned to other divisions, and we'll work with that and share with you that information. As you can see, part of the 8 offices and the divisions that apply, we also have the Division of Pharmacology and Toxicology for the different offices. This will not be the topic of my presentation, and I will not dwell on it other than assuring that they will support the work of the corresponding offices. Um, for your vantage point, probably what you will see is maybe different reviewers attending the meetings, but the quality of their work will continue to be outstanding. And we also have the Office of Regulatory Operations. And I think that I have the next slide here, where in this office is administratively will house the project management staff, but doesn't have any implications on the operation of the regulatory review process and PMs. Project managers and chief project managers, will continue operating with the new organization in the same manner than before. However, some project management might have moved to different divisions, and you will have a new cadre of chiefs that are going to be covering the new divisions that come. However, from the agency side, we try to minimize those realignments. Our acting director of the Office of Regulatory Operations is Jennifer Mercier. The deputy director is Jacqueline Weir. In supporting the 8 divisions of regulatory operations aligned with the corresponding clinical officers, there is new positions that they are director of project management staff. During my presentation, I will share with you a little bit of where we are and how we stand with here. Let me reassure you again that the PMs in the Office of Regulatory Operations are embedded with the clinical divisions to support and direct the day-to-day regulatory aspect of all IND, NDA, BLA applications, review and post-approval program. For our internal processes, these PMs will serve primarily as the review team's regulatory expert and the team's project managers, but most importantly, as in the past, the Office of Regulatory Operation Managers, project managers will continue serving as the liaisons between the clinical review divisions and regulated industry or individual investigators. From that perspective, nothing has changed. Please continue communicating with them as in the past. The only change you might see is a different signature block with a new divisional assignment. So let's start now to look at the reorganization in detail. The Office of Infectious Diseases, this is one of the offices who were realigned in the beginning because no major changes or realignment in the divisions had occurred with that. The director of the Office of Infectious Diseases is Dr. John Farley. Deputy director is Dr. Adam Sherwood, who is currently acting. And the Division of Infectious Diseases is composed by the Division of Anti-Infectives, Division of Antivirals. And again, within the Office of Regulatory Affairs, Division of Office of Regulatory Operations, we have a Division of Regulatory Operations for Infectious Diseases. And within this ORO, DRO, IED, there is a Director of Project Management Staff, Maureen Dilo Parker, who is supporting the Office of Infectious Diseases from the project management. The Division of Anti-Infective, it's as it was before. Dr. Nambiar is still the division director, and Dr. Gary Koff is the deputy director. And temporarily, we still have the same chief project management staff we have. The Division of Regulatory, the anti-infective products reviews antibacterial, antifungal, antimicrobacterial, most antiprotozoal and sepsis drug programs. And in addition, manages several unique specific programs, such the antibacterial susceptibility test interpretive criteria, what we call it the breakpoints, and the generating antibiotics incentive now, or is again qualified infectious disease product designation programs, that is the QUIDIP program. There are other products, and they work also with pre-EUAs for medical countermeasures for the treatment of inhalational anthrax, plague, tularemia, and collaborates the division with NIH, NIAID, BARDA, and at CEC to enhance the national preparedness. In addition, has a very large program of single patient IND. As you have seen previously, the division of antivirals has not changed a lot. In essence, the division is in charge of reviewing antiviral drugs, and in addition, works with several specific programs like the PEPFAR program, the President Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, and also responding to medical countermeasures and emergency infections as Ebola and the current pandemic. Here we have the Office of Oncologic Diseases. The majority of those divisions stem from the previously Office of Oncology and Hematology products. We have just the oncology products within this office. Dr. Patzer is still the office director, deputy director, Dr. Mathieu, and we currently have 5 divisions. Division of Oncology 1, Division of Oncology 2, Division of Oncology 3, Division of Hematologic Malignancy 1, Division of Hematologic Malignancies 2. And again, supporting the work on the Office of Oncologic Diseases from the project management side, Office of Regulatory Operation is the Division of Regulatory Operations for Oncologic Diseases. In the Director of Project Management staff, you will hear the word DPMS, is Melanie Pierce. So Division of Oncology 1, as you see, I'm showing you here the leadership. Division of Oncology 1 works with breast products for breast, gynecologic, and genitourinary cancers, as well as supportive care, non-hematologic products. Realigned to the Division of Oncology 2 are thoracic, head and neck, neuro-oncology, rare cancers, and pediatric solid tumor. You will recognize a new name here, Ms. Rach Bayable, Mimi, and she's the acting chief in that division. Division of Oncology 3, we have some of the management and directorship has been there. The new project management for this division is Norma Griffin. This division supports gastrointestinal, superficial cutaneous cancers, melanoma, and sarcoma. The Division of Hematologic Malignancies 1, the Chief Project Management staff for that division is Amy Bird. Director is Angela DeClaro, and this division reviews product for acute leukemia, myelodysplasia, and chronic myeloid leukemia. Division of Hematologic Malignancies 2, Dr. Nicole Gormley is the division director. Our deputy director is vacant. Teresa Carriotti is the chief project management staff. And again, as it continues, I added ORO in the slides because the chief project management staff, although supporting the work of the division administratively, belongs to a different organization, and that's where sometimes you will see a different signature block. The Office of Non-Prescription Drugs used to be a division previously. Now we have 2 divisions under the Office of Non-Prescription Drugs. The director is Dr. Teresa Michelle, deputy director is Dr. Karen Mahoney, and we have 2 divisions, Non-Prescription Drug 1, Non-Prescription Drug 2. And in support of the regulatory operations for the office is Celia Peacock, who reports administratively to the Office of Regulatory Operations, Division of Regulatory Operations for Non-Prescription Drugs. Within this Office of Non-Prescription Drugs that has been all tasked with the implementation of the OTC Monograph Safety, Innovation and Reform Act, recently enacted by Congress, and this has been the office that has been active during the initial days of this pandemic, with the hand sanitizers. Thank you very much for the work you did on that. We're learning here, starting to see new acronyms. The Division of Non-Prescription Drug 1, the director is Carrie Mahoney, Deputy Director is Nushing Todd, and again, Dan Broom is the Chief Project Management Staff. The Division of Non-Prescription Drugs 1 supports the review of products for anesthesiology, addiction and pain medicine, dermatology, gastroenterology, neurology, pulmonary, allergy, and critical care and psychiatry. Division of Non-Prescription Drug 2, if Dr. Francis Becker is the director, still vacant, and our Chief Project Management staff is Elizabeth Thompson. She has been selective, not active yet, and it covers anti-infective, antivirals, cardiology and nephrology, dentistry, diabetes, lipid disorder, and obesity, ophthalmology, otic, urology, obstetric, and gynecology. Office of Neuroscience. You will see some familiar names here. The new Office of Neuroscience, Dr. Billy Dunn is the director, Dr. Eric Bastings is the deputy director, and now the new office is composed by the Division of Neurology 1, Division of Neurology 2, Division of Psychiatry, and the Division of Anesthesiology, Addiction Medicine, and Pain Medicine. It's different realignment, the division it's added here, the last one. In support of the Office of Neuroscience, from the Office of Regulatory Operations, ORO, we have a Division of Regulatory Operations for the Office of Neuroscience, ORO, DRO, ON, and the Director of Project Management Staff, DPMS, is Paul David. Division of Neurology 1, the director is continuous Ed Basting. As the director, Teresa Buracchio is the deputy director. Chief Project Manager staff, Heather Bullock, that is acting currently. And it works with neurodegenerative disorders, movement disorders, neuromuscular disorders, such as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, Huntington disease, muscular dystrophy, ALS, spasticity. Division of Neurology 2. The Chief Project Management staff is still Jackie Ware. The director is Nick Kozauer, and deputy director is Paul Lee. And this is a division that manages product for the treatment of seizures, epilepsy, medical countermeasures, migraine, other headaches, traumatic brain injury, inner ear disorders, stroke, and neuroimmunological disorders. Again, for neurology, it's almost a realignment from the same therapeutic general areas. They had no major disruption in what we used to know before. Maybe the project manager aligned with different divisions. We still have the division of psychiatry. Dr. Farchione is the director. Bernie Fisher is the deputy director, and we have two chiefs supporting that division, Hiren Patel and Keith Kidrow. They're currently acting. And the Division of Psychiatry reviews work for psychiatric diseases and conditions such as bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, major depressive disorders, ADD, obsessive compulsive disorder, panic attack, post-traumatic stress disorders, generalized anxiety disorder, autism spectrum disorder, and insomnia. The Division of Anesthesiology, Addiction Medicine, and Pain Medicine, in itself, it seems to be intact in what it was before. No major reassignment. Dr. Rigoberto Roga is the director, Naomi Lowe is the deputy, and we have two chief project management staff, Matthew Sullivan and Swati Patwaran. Those are the division regulates and reviews drugs for drugs and biologics for treatment of acute pain, for example, surgical and procedural pain, pain due to trauma and injury, pain due to acute inflammatory processes, also chronic pain, like cancer pain, neuropathic pain, fibromyalgia, osteoarthritic pain, low back pain, and addiction products. addiction to nicotine, alcohol, stimulants, opioid, the Division of Anesthesia, Addiction Medicine, and Pain also regulate the drug product classes that are used in surgical procedures or ICU settings to provide patient comfort and ease of treatment, like general anesthetics, local anesthetics, dental anesthetics, topical anesthetics, neuromuscular blocking agents, and neuromuscular blocker reversal agents. Office of Cardiology, Hematology, Endocrinology, and Nephrology. We call OCHEN. You will see some familiar names in the division. Dr. Ellis Anger is the office director. Dr. Mary Tan Hai is the office deputy director. And there are some names of divisions that you might recognize: the Division of Cardiology and Nephrology, the Division of Non-Malignant Hematology, who used to be part of the Office of Oncology and Hematology previously, the Division of Diabetes, Lipids Disorders, and Obesity, the Division of General Endocrinology. Those are two new divisions created stemming from previous reorganization. And we have all in support of the Office of Cardiology, Hematology, Endocrinology, and Nephrology, OCHEN. From the Office of Regulatory Operation, we have a Division of Regulatory Operations for OCHEN, should be, and the Director of Project Management Staff is Julie Vanderbag. So, Division of Cardiovascular and Nephrology is Dr. Norm Stockbridge, is the director, Alisa Thompson, the deputy, and Ed Frum continue being the chief project management staff. This division reviews INDs, investigational new drug application, biologic licensing applications for drug and biologic products for the treatment of cardiovascular condition and diseases as acute coronary syndrome, congestive heart failure, hypertension, peripheral arterial disease, pulmonary hypertension, cardiac arrhythmias, as well as drugs and biologic products for the treatment of kidney diseases and conditions such as acute and chronic renal failure, end-stage renal failures, lupus nephritis, nephrotic syndrome, and dialysate products used in hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis. Division of Non-Malignant Hematology. You have had Dr. N. Farrell previously working with oncology, now is in the Division of Non-Malignant Hematology. Dr. Al Diceroth is the Deputy Director. Chief Project Management is Charlene Wheeler. Most of the products that in this division are reviews is for non-malignant hematology, like clotting disorders, deep venous thrombosis and pulmonary embolism, abnormality of red cells like anemia and sickle cell disease, white cells, and some platelets like ITP, bone marrow failure disorders like aplastic anemia, and some supportive care products for use with chemotherapy and bone marrow transplantation in like products for stem cell mobilization. Division of Diabetic, Lipid Disorders, and Obesity. Dr. Lisa Yanoff is the division director, still the deputy is vacant. And the project managers are two new of our staff that are currently active, and is their Kelly Capel Lynch and Liz Goodwin. This division reviews products for type 1 and type 2 diabetes mellitus, weight loss and weight management, geriatric frailty and sarcopenia, lipodystrophy, vasopressins for central diabetes insipidus, nocturnal enuresis, vitamin deficiency, except products for vitamin D. Division of Endocrinology, or DGE. Teresa Kehoe is the division director, vacant is the deputy, and Elizabeth Hannon is the chief project management staff. As selected here, the division review products for growth hormone related conditions, adrenal and ACTH disorders, anabolic steroids, cachexia, hypo and hyperthyroidism, hyperparathyroidism, Cushing syndrome, developmental disorders, geriatric frailty, sarcopenia, and products related to the bone. We have the Office of Immunology and Inflammation, what we call OII. Dr. Julie Weitz is the director of the office. Dr. Victor Krenzel is the deputy director, and we have here 5 divisions. Some of them might seem names that you will recognize, like the Division of Dermatology and Dentistry. There are 2 new divisions created in this arena, in this office. That is the Division of Gastroenterology and the Division of Hepatology and Nutrition. The other 2 divisions, you might recognize their names, the Division of Pulmonology, Allergy, and Critical Care, and the Division of Rheumatology and Transplant Medicine. Originally, we had the Division of Pulmonary, Allergy, and Rheumatology that has split in 2 in this new reorganization. Again, within the Office of Regulatory Operations, we have a Division of Regulatory Operations for Immunology and Inflammation, and we have a Director of Project Management Staff, that is the DPMS. And the DPMS for this office is Remit Graywell. The Office of Dermatology and Dentistry, DDD, Dr. Kendall Marcus is the director, Sherry Targum the deputy, and Barbara Gould continues being the chief project management staff. For this division, the therapeutic areas have not changed. They remain as they were in the before the reorg, and reviews products for acne, actinic keratosis, aesthetic indications, atopic dermatitis, condyloma acuminata, dental caries, gingivitis, psoriasis, rosacea, superficial basal cell carcinoma, wound healing, ulcers, and xerostomia. The Division of Gastroenterology is a new one. The director is Jessica Lee, and deputy director is Julie Tomaino, and the chief project management staff is Richard Whitehurt, new chief. This division reviews products for inflammatory bowel conditions, gastroesophageal reflux diseases, duodenal and gastric ulcers, celiac disease, eosinophilic gastrointestinal disorders, motility disorders, constipation, bowel cleansing agents, anorectal disorders, antidiarrheal agents, antiemetic, pancreatic agent, as some. There's a new division, Division of Hepatology and Nutrition. Dr. Joseph Turner is the director, and Frank Anania, the deputy. The chief project management staff, it's Ayana Augustus Bryan, new chief. The divisions manages product for liver diseases and nutritional disorders. Within the liver diseases are non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, alcohol-associated liver disease, including alcohol-associated acute hepatitis, liver fibrosis, cirrhosis, portal hypertension, Wilson's disease, also autoimmune hepatitis, acute liver failure, cholestatic liver disorders, and all the nutritional disorders. You might know some people here in the Division of Pulmonary, Allergy, and Critical Care. Dr. Sally Seymour is the director, Banu Karimi Shah is the deputy director, and the chief project management staff is Ladan Jafari. This division has worked with asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, allergic rhinitis, cough and cold symptoms, anaphylaxis, cystic fibrosis, products for critical care, surfactants for infant respiratory distress syndrome. This division has been immensely active during this current pandemic. And the division has split because it was pulmonary rheumatology before, but currently it's the Division of Rheumatology and Transplant Medicine. Dr. Nikolai Nikolov is the director. Deputy director is Oslan Belen. And the chief project management continue being Sandy Barnes. And the division reviews for rheumatologic conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, juvenile idiopathic arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, gout, lupus, systemic sclerosis, oral corticosteroids, vasculitis, as well as product for solid organ transplantation rejection medicine. And by solid organ transplantations, we are talking about liver, heart, kidney, lung transplants. This is where we have a lot of new divisions and a lot of reorganization. In the Office of Rare Diseases, Pediatrics, Urologic, and Reproductive Medicine, or we call it ORPERM. Dr. Hilton Jaffe, you might know him, is the director of the office, and the deputy director is still vacant. And we have three divisions: Division of Rare Diseases and Medical Genetics, Division of Pediatric and Maternal Health, Division of Urology, Obstetrics, and Gynecology. And again, supporting this Office of Rare Diseases, Pediatrics, Urologic, and Reproductive Medicine is the Director of Project Management Staff that administratively reports to the Office of Regulatory Operations. However, it supports the regulatory work of this office. Pamela Lucarelli is the currently acting director. Division of Rare Diseases and Medical Genetics review products for amino acid metabolism disorders, lipoprotein metabolism disorder, and organic acid disorders, lysosomal bile acid synthesis disorders, progeria, Menkes syndrome, congenital disorders of glycosylations, hypophosphatemia, bile acid synthesis disorders. The Division of Pediatric and Maternal Health, Dr. Lin Yao is the director, Dr. John Alexander, the deputy. No changes in the leadership of them. We have one additional chief project management staff, that is George Greeley. And this is a division who supports internal processes and guidance in support of the Pediatric Research Equity Act, Best Pharmaceutical Children's Act, and implementation, and helps tremendously with the implementation of the Pregnancy and Lactation Laboring Rule, also known as PLLR. Division of Urology, Obstetric, and Gynecology, DUOG. Christine Gwen is the director, Audrey Gassman the deputy director. You might know there Margaret or Margie Cover as the chief project management staff, and it will be supported now by Samantha Bell. The division reviews products for the prevention and treatment of reproductive and urologic conditions. I have a long list here, but in general, for obstetric and gynecologists, contraception, endometriosis, female infertility, lactation disorder, premenstrual dysphoric order, among some of them, this sexual dysfunction, sexual pain disorder, medication use as part of assisted reproductive technology program. In the urology area, products for benign prostatic hypertrophy, bladder pain disorders, erectile dysfunctions, male infertility, Peyronie's disease, premature ejaculation. We are getting here to the end of my presentation. The Office of Specialty Medicine, we have Dr. Charles Ganley, that's the division director, Dr. Alex Gervex is the acting deputy director. Those two divisions moved to the new reorganization without too much change. They were just transferred like a whole with not too much alterations. The Division of Imaging and Radiation Medicine and the Division of Ophthalmology. And again, supporting the Office of Specialty Medicine. It's me there. You see my name. I am the Director of Project Management Staff, acting for now. I administratively report to the Office of Regulatory Operations, Division of Regulatory Operations for the Office of Specialty Medicine. However, in reality, we support the regulatory work of the office. The divisions here have not undergone too much change. They probably moved in that to a different office, but the skeleton and the therapeutic areas remain the same. The Division of Radiation Imaging and Radiation Medicine, Dr. Lou Marcella continues being our director. The deputy director is still acting, and Kay Kang is still the Chief Project Management staff. We review imaging products that include contrast agents used to improve the ability to see inside the body using like X-rays, ultrasound, or magnetic resonance. Could be computerized tomography to evaluate blood circulation or to detect early cancer, stroke, and heart disease. There are other imaging products that contain small amount of radioactivity, and they are used to reveal information about the structure and function of the body, like PET, positron emission tomography, or single photon emission computed tomography like SPECT, and those are used for evaluation of brain and heart conditions. And here comes to the end. I saved the last for the end, the Division of Ophthalmology. The director is Dr. Wiley Chambers, continues being vacant for the deputy, and the Chief Project Management staff is Diala Wheeler. I took my name out there because I'm in transition, but I'm still supporting that division. We review ophthalmic products used in the diagnosis, management, and treatment of ocular diseases, including products administered in or around the eye, regardless of their pharmacologic category or dosage form. And again, many of these products that we review may be diagnostic, therapeutic, or both. The division also review audit products, except those indicated for otitis media. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you so much, Judit Milstein, for your presentation and giving us a great overview of the OND reorganization. So we have a time for question and answers, and for all of our attendees, if you'd like to get your question answered, go ahead and enter it into the chat pod in the lower right-hand part of your screen. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started with the questions. So our first question for Judit is, were the mailing addresses of all offices and divisions changed in the reorganization? Where can a company best find the mailing address of each division? For example, the mailing address of the Division of Hepatology and Nutrition in the Office of Immunology and Inflammation. They put the mailing address of the division, or are they supposed to be addressing it to the beginning? Where should they put it in the cover letters?
Good morning. This is a great question. Let me bring back a little bit of the straight answer is the following. You can still continue sending your documentation to the physical address of the central document room in Beltsville. Having said that, OND is working almost 100% remotely, and there are very few people at the White Oak building. So please do not send any kind of documentation to the White Oak building 22. There's not going to be anybody to pick it up. There are a few options that we can work around. You can send any documentation on any submission to the central document room in Beltsville if the submission is in paper. However, due to this pandemic and the remote working situation, you can also make submissions through the NextGen portal. The importance of part of this presentation is to alert you of who is the leadership in each division. Many people have changed. Many people have gone to other areas. Some of our previous division directors have retired. So we wanted to mention that this is just mostly FYI and who to be addressed. If you send your submissions, preferably to the NextGen portal or the gateway, it will reach the division for as long as you put your IND number, BLA number, NDA number, and it will reach us. If you have a submission for a pre-IND, you can still submit through the NextGen portal. or if not, please contact the Chief Project Management staff in each one of the divisions, and they will alert you if you want the submission through the portal, if they want the submission through the emails, and this is operational. Each one of our divisions work in subtle different ways, but we all will receive it. But please do not send anything to the physical address of White Oak in Silver Spring. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Judith. Great answer. All right. Our next question is, would the treatment for high blood sugar or diabetes, does that fall under general endocrinology? And they have an example. So if for example, if the therapy is a substance rather than a hormone, is that the correct office?
Okay, let me look in my papers now, but there is a new division of diabetes, lipid disorders, and obesity, what is called DDLO. Dr. Yanov, it's slide number 28, slide number 28, and anything that is diabetes will fall under this division. I understand that it's very difficult for some people used to a previous reorg, how we are focused in the new reorganization. Please refer to them. If you still have any questions, contact the Chief Project Management staff in each one of the divisions, and we should be able to help you if your product has, for any reason, changed division or have gone to another responsibility therapeutic area.
Great, thank you so much. And just a reminder, if you have questions for our presenter, go ahead and put them in the chat pod in the lower right hand of your screen. So our next question is, could you define what the difference is between acting or selected?
Okay, that's a good question. I myself trying to understand exactly. Because there is a reorganization, there is what we interact with people, and we interact with regulated industry and our sponsors. However, in the background, there is a human resources process that goes behind the scenes. So although for intent and purposes, the person who is acting or who has been selected is functioning in the new division, the human resources confirmation of their position has not come yet. So in reality, they're not the effective director or deputy director, but they're acting in that facility. For the purposes of interaction, please continue doing the same way you were doing before. I hope that this presentation, although highlighted the people who are responsible of each one of the new therapeutic areas or the realignment, rest assured that our interactions liaison, it remains the same as it was before, with the addition of new programs that come along.
All right, great. Our next question is the COVID-19 vaccine, is that going to be referred to the Office of Infectious Diseases?
As you state, the COVID vaccine will be reviewed in the Center for Biologics in CDER, and they are responsible for vaccine development for COVID-19.
Okay, great. And we actually have two questions on this. Could you talk about where or when the FDA website will be updated with all the information presented on the new reorganization? So do you have any insight on that?
As I stated in one of my original slides, the reorganization is evolving. So what I presented today is a snapshot of what we have today. And this is, more people are going to be added, some people are going to change. Some of the positions that are vacant has been announced and they're still trying to fill the positions. However, I will recommend that you can go to, there are two, I provided in my presentation two links. One of them is in slide number 5 in the Office of Regulatory Operations for our order. And I'm looking in my slide, and there is one at the beginning of my presentation also where I presented the link for the reorganization in the FDA website. That should be the way we can figure out the latest we have, although we have a delay time in updating them. So if you have any specific question on the reorganization, please contact the Chief Project Management staff. In any division you work with that therapeutic area, and if you don't have that specific therapeutic area, feel free to contact any one of the people you know inside OND, and we will try to help you along that way. I was able to find here in slide number 2, you have 2 links from the FDA website regarding the reasons and background on the reorg and the reorganization center.
All right, great, thank you. All right, we have another question. When addressing the director of the Office of OCHEN, should the person be Ellis Unger or the Division of Non-Malignant?
Usually, although Dr. Ellis Unger is the office director, we will appreciate if the communications when you write the cover letter be addressed to the division director. So if you would like to talk to the Division of Non-Malignant Hematology, please address this to Dr. Ann Farrell.
Great, thank you. And we have a question about if this new reorganization, does that affect ANDAs or at all?
Good question. I don't think that this reorganization affected the Office of Generic Drugs for now.
Okay, great. And we have one last question that you touched on in your presentation, and I think they just want a little clarification. So, do hand sanitizers fall under the first or second division of non-prescription?
Hi. The questions are great. I really appreciate that because some of them I didn't even think of that, but they need to be addressed. With regard to the hand sanitizers, in the beginning of the pandemic, it was assigned, in essence, to the Office of Non-Prescription Drugs. Because of this pandemic, there is some cross-working, and resources are pooled in as many as we can in any project, but that doesn't mean that will not cross over another division. In principle, it should go to the Division of Non-Prescription, the Office of Non-Prescription Drugs. If you address it to them, I think that they will go to the Division of Non-Prescription Drug 2. However, you might see people from the Division of Non-Prescription Drug 1 working on it. So the best you can do is send it to the Office of Non-Prescription Drugs, and it will be routed to the person you need.
All right, thank you so much, Judith, for your presentation and your great answers and taking time to speak with our attendees. And with that, we're actually going to go on a 15-minute break, and we will reconvene at 11 with Lawrence Allen, who will be talking about post-approval responsibilities and obligations.